Mario doesn't feel well at all. Corrupted by terror, he destroys the entire Mushroom Kingdom universe. And then, he disappears, putting his own brother in a dangerous situation. In one of the most sinister stories, with references that go far beyond the normal Mario, featuring a strange creature, the Great Mimic. And when the imposter fight happens, you just witness how brutal this Mario story is. Look, I've played several Mario horror games and you've seen them here on the channel, but this one is special because it's still being developed and a new chapter came out. It's almost like a new season. And my friend, it's sinister. Say hi here in the comments because that's what I'm going to talk about right now. The story here starts in the Great Prologue 2 days ago. Super Mario is inside a great temple in the sky, which is a bit strange since it looks like it was an altar full of stars. And it should be a completely sacred place. The cool thing about this game is that it follows the rules of Mario 64. There's a health meter in the shape of a star, but he still ends up getting powers just like normal Mario, with a mushroom and also a fire flower. This first part is actually pretty peaceful and calm, like a standard Mario game. He's arriving here at this big altar, and he ends up going in through the pipe. And inside that area, he goes through an obstacle course, which is basically platforms with an unbelievable lack of Super Mario enemies. Some spikes appear, and blocks too. They can even make your greed become your downfall. Seriously, I jumped here on the P block, and that was the end of Mario. Literally, he had nowhere else to fall. But at least here there's a new mechanic where you bounce off the walls. Like, it's not a big deal, but it's what changes the game. But when Mario gets to the end, he sees a message in his mind saying that that's not him, and several strange tentacles start coming out of his own body. He keeps tormenting himself with thoughts. He wonders why he wasn't able to save the others, that he ended up failing at that moment and turned into a disgrace. He doesn't like how his past ends up disturbing his mind. He apologizes because all of that is his fault, and in a sinister way, he faints in this hallucinatory nightmare. But the game restarts with Mario coming back from the point where the nightmare began. But this doesn't go anywhere. He keeps going until the star altar, but he ends up falling into a trap. And he ends up down here in the rubble. Now he has to move forward. The mechanics here are very clear. The whole cave is completely dark, so Mario can pick up some small torches here, which is pretty dangerous. But he's going to use this to be able to move forward, and for some reason in this game, Bowser's minions are here. Not only that, they can also survive and see in the dark at the same time, because it doesn't make sense for them to be in this place, in the end. Mario ends up finding a small altar here, 2 hands and a dark star. He grabs it, celebrates, but that's not a victory, it's a nightmare, because the same star started to suck all his life away, leaving him unconscious, reflective, and revealing the true face of evil as he starts staring at the ground. And he's no longer the Mario we know. He's just standing there, eyes closed. But that's actually the end of Mario. And yes, it's also the rebirth of a creature. He's there, losing his sight, with little balls falling to the ground. Now that Mario has become an entity, he'll have to get out of these ancient ruins. And now he has more powers to handle things. Besides moves that came from Mario 64, he's also able to break walls now since he has a breath attack, so he goes through some caves. He gets to the outside of the ancient temple, where the sky has already turned completely red, and several stars that were once framed there are now floating in the sky and destroyed. That's because the entity ended up breaking free, and all that peace and quiet was pretty much shattered. So Mario continues on his journey into the storm. In Mario's world, he's practically indestructible. Just the fact that he touches any creature makes it turn into ketchup. He has the Midas touch, but an evil one, and he's going to do that until he reaches his ultimate destination, which is the Mushroom Kingdom. In a well-located city, he arrives at a place called Toad Toll, the city of the toads. And there's a little guard who, when he faces Mario, he simply ended up becoming Mario's snack, which is actually pretty sad, to be honest. Mario needs to hide. He can't be seen by the guards here because unlike Rio de Janeiro, this place is well protected. So the game ended up creating a stealth mechanic here, where Mario jumps, hangs, and hides from each of the guards until he reaches the big castle. It's pretty tough. He jumps from house to house, flag to flag, and when he finally arrives, he finds the little fire flower here, which was pretty much waiting for him. And with that, he ends up turning into the devil here, in the form of Super Mario, using the power of the star. The whole sky basically turned into a full-blown apocalypse. Yes, meteor showers are falling over the city, and now Mario is attacking all the guards there, just like that. He basically needs to take out everyone inside the Super Mario universe, including all the Toads. Some guards are tougher because they have defense, but Mario needs to make them fall, and then take out their shield. Juko even gives him a crushing hand to use. After that, he just needs to use his breath attack, and he manages to take out each of the toads, leaving them on the ground. He needs to do all of this, so he can actually power up, because when his ketchup and life bar fills up, he starts to evolve. This is the transformation through which the creature Marize manages to grow more and more. He becomes much more brutal. His touch is much deadlier, and at the same time, he can break through many barriers in front of him. The more he does it, the more he powers up. And then, in the end, he starts to create the apocalypse within the Super Mario universe. And now he has to get there, actually to the small castle at the end of the stage. There he immediately meets the sheriff of the town, and he's happy. Look who's been waiting for me. I hope you feel really bad in front of God himself. I don't have much to say. Pathetic. So Toad promptly tries to defend himself and ends up shooting Super Mario, which ends up creating a weird scene here. We don't have details, but some kind of fight happened. But what we do know is that in this world, in this very beginning, we have a really bad ending. Not for Mario, but for Toad. I know you've already seen this part, which had already been released before. Actually, it came out in a situation without updates, because some things changed. But now there's the new chapter, which is Luigi's episode. Looking for Mario, Luigi is the one who goes through the forest and the Mushroom Kingdom. Mario disappeared for about a week, and now Luigi has the mission to try to end all that nightmare that started when Mario ended up inside that temple. He mentions a story about some stars that hide secrets inside the temples, but he has no idea that something bad could come from there, so he sets off for the Great Forest. The mechanics here are much more complex because besides being much more vibrant, it looks like a more standard Super Mario game with a health meter and everything, which makes it much harder. Passing through each of these cliffs in the middle of a big jungle, Luigi climbs even the mountains. This path that Luigi is taking is not an unusual one. He's trying to reach the same temple, the one Super Mario went through before. He's looking for his brother and trying to find out what turned him into that thing. And the first sign is to go back to where it all began. He goes through the same place, even the same bridge where Super Mario fell. There he ends up finding that monument of the Great Star, which ended up revealing its true face. Literally, devil. Luigi ended up becoming a kind of coward here, in a bizarre vision, where he asks himself what he is. He says he is a destroyer, blaming himself for having destroyed everything that was happening in the past with the king in the Mushroom Kingdom. He blames himself for Mario having turned into that horrendous creature, and that everyone died because of him, because he wasn't able to stop it or save his brother. The vision ends with Luigi coming back, and now he is searching for new paths, alternative doors that might allow him to reach the highest point of this great stone wall in this Temple of the Skies. And when he finally gets to the top, he realizes that the temple is a little different, with a slightly more reddish tone. The structure is still the same, but there are changes here. It's as if he has reached, let's say, the epicenter, where everything should be revealed to him. There he ends up finding Toad hanging. In the same way, he also finds his own brother and a structure. A strange one, with a floating star. Mario has practically turned red, empty, and here he uses the power of falling stars, Mario's cape, and also mysterious vines to fight. But he gave Luigi an advantage. The power of the Fire Flower, which helps since this is a boss fight with a health bar, still following the Super Mario style. Fighting him is complicated, but you just have to jump on his head and use the fire power. That way, he tries to re-energize himself, because this is never going to be the end. However, he gets much taller, so Luigi is grabbed, and he fights to escape, and in this way, he manages to do it, using the power of the Fire Flower. Then he is thrown out, losing a bit of his strength and leaving Super Mario much angrier. Now he wants to catch Luigi, and Luigi has to run away, following the path to the left, with several shadows and creatures that have been turned into glass. This path here is complicated because some of the glass is broken and can cause damage, but also safe platforms to jump on don't even seem visible because they're transparent against the red sky. But it only gets worse because actually the obstacle course here is insane, and Super Mario is landing behind him, breaking everything in his path and also falling through the sky himself. There's no way to fight back, you just have to run, and you have to be much faster than Super Mario. This part here is difficult, but Luigi has to keep jumping, trying to find a safe way out for himself until he finds the right exit, and when he does, he starts falling from the sky. Luigi is now here inside a cave, so he needs to escape since this one here. These are the evil mines basically. It's a large area full of a maze where he has to press red and blue buttons to turn small invisible platforms visible. That way, he can use the weight of some structures above him to be able to escape and also open up paths for himself. All of this is pretty complicated, and he's going to need to use new abilities now. He'll remember that he has the strength to push blocks and open up platforms ahead. He'll also get a new weapon here, a hatchet, which is useful for attacking and also for breaking wooden blocks, even chopping wood and timber. He even reaches a strange temple that should literally have the star in the middle. That shows that actually that cave that Super Mario went through, well, it was completely transformed because of everything he ended up experiencing. But when he tries to escape, it seems like he ignored a certain suspicious shy guy, who is actually another creature, the Mimic. So he needs to start running away from it before the Mimic catches him. Man, it's creepy, really fast, and if by any chance it catches Luigi, there won't be a good ending to this story, since the only thing it knows how to do is give a big smile and stare at you. Literally. But if Luigi is really fast, he'll find a cave, an exit, and he'll end up hiding there, where there are several blocks and boxes he can use as hiding spots. And the Mimic, well, will be left kind of clueless, and it'll try to go after you, since now there's a mass counter that fills up more and more as Luigi moves. And every time that thing is filled up, the Mimic will simply appear, trying to figure out where you are, and if Luigi isn't hiding, it's over. But if he manages to hide, the Mimic will be thrown off. This part is basically a maze, with keys, gears, and parts, so you can literally push stones. And there are also piles of wood that, whenever Luigi breaks them, bring the Mimic over almost immediately. But when Luigi manages to get here, to an exit, he ends up falling into a hole. But that hole is a little deeper, and it ends up attracting, yes, the Mimic once again. He's here, ready to catch Luigi. And now that Luigi has no way to escape, he'll have to fight the creature. Luigi's luck is that he has two old bells here that he can use. The Mimic is weak against loud noises, as if he were some kind of venom. So all Luigi has to do is hit each of these bells with an axe, and he'll be able to stun the Mimic a little, you know, just enough to make him take some hits and get axed. And if Luigi manages to do this to the point of defeating the Mimic, well, something much worse will happen. The Mimic will disappear, and what reappears is the red void, only now it's a little darker. In this fight, he ends up using a bit of energy, static electricity, which ends up shocking and can hit Luigi pretty hard, as well as super jumps and Crash's spinning attack, plus boulders that come out of the ground and fall from the ceiling because of his hits on the scenery. The creature is tough. He also summons small energy balls, which is annoying. But if Luigi manages to escape, he'll have the chance to strike. And then we find out that, in fact, it was the Mimic all along. And then the Red Void, the former Mario, appears to destroy that copy, wiping out that evil and saving his brother indirectly. But we know this isn't really the end, because this story, my friend, is still going to continue. This is Super Mario Crimson Memories. Man, the guy who made this game is a genius. He makes great animations now, but a Mario horror game, he really pulled it off. It's balanced. It really has just the right amount of difficulty. Too bad it's only for PC. And when Chapter 3 comes out, you can be sure, my friend, subscribe and turn on the bell, because I'm going to play it here with you guys live, when everything is ready, alright? Thank you so much. Thanks. I'm out. See you in the next video.
E até o próximo vídeo.